Namaskar. Today we will be discussing about the ancient Indian science, science in the ancient India. And by ancient India, what I mean is about 1000 to 1500 BC. What science I will be talking of is ranging from 1000 to 1500 BC. And during that period, lot of literary works were done, and they have been passed unwritten from the words of mouth from one generation to another, and majority of the works are called Ved. Ved means knowledge, and apart from that, there are other scientific works which needs to be mentioned. So we will be talking in general. We will not be going into very detailed sciences. We will be having a taste of every branch of science and salient contributions what the Indians of that age made to science. So the title of the today's talk is Bharatiya Vigyan Vaibhavam. That means the glory of Indian science. So when we see the Western world, the science came into being in the 80s, and the Indian science, India being one of the oldest civilization, the Indian science was far before the modern concept of science came into existence. So the majority of the literary works were compiled into the Vedas, and Ved means knowledge. And this knowledge flourished with all disciplines, fulfilling the social, ethical, psychological, spiritual, aesthetic, and philosophic needs of the globe. The Vedas are not the collection of ritualistic hymns composed to invoke the divine word, nor they continue to bear the religious mark stamped on their face. They are high they have high value of scientific researches, and they are books of high scientific knowledge, of high scientific content, and they have nothing to do with any religion. They are not concerned with the religion. They are the books dedicated to various branches of knowledge. I would like to, apart from Vedic literature, there is other literature which is available. So I would like to have a short mention of that. The work on materialism has been done with the name of Lokayat Shastram, and the author of this work was Bhaguri. The work on archery was named as Dhanurved. Today we also called it as Dhanurvidya, and the author there were two authors of the work, Ausansa and Bhardwaj. Ashvashustram is the study of horses, and the author is not known. It has been passed by word of mouth. The study Ayurveda of elephants. Ayurveda is the branch dealing with the medicinal activity. The Ayurveda of elephants is Hasya Ayurveda, and it has been written by Palkapya. Next science is the design of machines, and machines in Hindi are called yantra. So the science was Yantra Matraka, which was written by Vishwakarma. The science of the trade and commerce were known as Varijya Shastra. Today also we call commerce as Vanijya. The author was Videha. Agriculture, that is Krishi, the author was Parsara. Animal husbandry, which was called Pashupali Shastram, today we call it as Pashupalan, that was written by Gautama. Architecture or Vastu Shastra, they were written by Bhrigu, Atri, Vashishta, and others. The science of drawing and painting called Chitra Shastra was written by many authors, and any specific author is not known. The science of weighing systems was known as Man Shastra. Man means value. The science of ornaments making was known as Man Vidya. The science of cookery is known as Pak Shastra. It was written by Nala. The science of fisheries or Matsya Shastra. Matsya means fish. The author is also unknown. We start with Ayurveda, which is the science of life. Ayur means life, Ved means knowledge. And it is a science that doesn't have any beginning nor an end. It's a divine and encompassing medical science promoting universal good. It has also nothing to do with any religion. It's a modern science, science in the modern concept also. The important aspects of Ayurveda are it provides rational means for the treatment of many internal diseases, and it is both preventive and curative. It tackles both the physiological and psychological aspects. It emphasizes the disease or disorders arises of the equilibrium of various functional units of the body. And herbs, the natural herbs are the cleansers of the cells and remove toxins from the body. The respiratory physiology, which modern science also takes, was given in the Veds much before. And it said that the lungs are the respiratory organs. When the atmospheric air enters the lungs, the oxygen in the air enters the blood through the wall of the lungs. The blood carries this oxygen and distributes it to various tissues of the body. The impure air from the tissue is brought to the lungs by the blood from expulsion into the atmosphere. And this has been written in a Samhita, and the period was 12 AD. The heart and blood circulation has been written in Dhel Samhita, Nari Shahgyanam. Nari means the pulse. So there are different kinds of pulse, and by sensing the pulse, you can diagnose a disease. Later on, this blood circulation in the modern science was given by William Harvey in 1628 AD. But this was the Nari Shastra was much before that. It was about 1000 BC. The Sushruta Samhita gives a pathology of IHD which involves a transient spasm, thickening and narrowing of coronary arteries with the physical disposition of cup pith. The cuff pith have many versions. You may call it cuff in the modern sense. It also encompasses the cholesterol formation. And the Charak Samhita says that those who want to preserve ojas and maintain the heart and the vessels attached to it in a good condition, to such should avoid such of the factors as may lead to unhappiness. Diets and drugs which are conducted to the heart, vital principles and channels of circulation should be taken. Tranquility and wisdom should be followed meticulously for the purpose. And this is the same what the cardiac surgeon advises to a patient today. The anatomy was quite similar with the modern science. There were seven layers of the skin, elements in the body, seven elements in the body, seven recipient vessels, seven fluids in the body, 700 arteries, 500 muscles, 900 tendons, 300 bones, 210 joints, 107 vitals, 24 veins, disorder of three humors, impure secretions 3, bundles of muscular bone 16, stitch like formulations 4, collection of bones 14, special canals 22, intestines 2, large and the small, hair pores of the skin 3.5 crores. So this is quite similar to what the modern science says, and this was described by Sushruta. We come to surgery, and Shushruth was a pioneer surgeon in this context, and he wrote a book in Sushruth Samhita. This is a book which deals with surgery, and the surgical operations were classified into eight kinds. The extraction of solid bodies was called aharya, excising was called bhedya, incising was called chedya, probing was called ashya, sacrificing was called lekhya, suturing was called sivya, puncturing was called vedya, and evacuating fluids was called vishwane. They used 125 kinds of instruments, and the room where the patient was kept or the surgery was performed was sterilized with the vapors of white mustard, neem leaves, and resinous gums of shal trees. Today, when we do perform yag in our homes, when use this kind of ghee and materials in the havan samagri, they are all composed of this. These are the surgical equipments they've used. These are only to denote what kind of instruments were used. You can see the pictures of the surgeries, treatment of C1. He was piercing a nose, removing blockage on the esophagus by creating a vacuum, eliminating vitilated blood. The basic principles of Ayurveda were by engaging oneself in a good conduct, one will immediately secure two benefits: health and conquest of the senses. Purity of food ensures purity of mind, which ensures steady recollection. Constant steady argumentation, reference work to other technical treatises constitute group of factors promoting mental vigor. Human person is entirely made up of faith, body, and what is designated as mind are the seats of diseases as well as happiness. And there are the three fluids in the body: vat, pith, and kapha. The balances and disbalances of these fluids are the major sources of various diseases. The body, bound up by its constituents, is under the control of mind. And one thing more I would like to mention, that by seeing the pulse, by sensing the pulse, the physicians used to diagnose the balance between the three fluids. We come to astronomy. The major contributions of the Indian science were rotation and revolution of the Earth, shape of the Earth, distance of planets from Earth and between each other, Moon as the satellite of Earth, 12 signs of zodiac, 7 colors of the sunlight, number of days in a year, number of days in a month. In the eighth region of the sky, there are comets and the number of the comets, the science of alchemy or Ras Vigyan. There were three basic principles: transforming the base metals into noble ones like copper or iron into silver or gold. That was called Lohaved. To conquer disease, old age, and death, Dehaved. And to achieve ability to fly in space, that was called Khechri Vidya. These are some of the instruments that were used. These was to evaporate the chemicals. This is similar to what we use in fractional distillation today. The consuming of metals by mercury, absorption, sublimation, distillation, and by distillation, the perfumes were made at that time. In geology, there were measures to sense water and oil in the earth, Apart from water and all, they are also used to sense it, uh, the depth at which the water will be found. And the instruments were basic. They used some animals to sense. Ah, we come to physics. The basic principles which were enriched were frequent references to the velocity of light, the seven colors in the sunlight, that is Vibgyor. Vedic seers were aware of the theory of gravitation, five elements, basic elements, that is ether, air, fire, water, and earth. Here we find ether, which was also tested by the Michelson-Morley experiment in the modern science about 150 years back. Atoms of air, water, fire, and earth, indivisible, globular, and eternal. Yav, Angulas, Vitastis, Hasta, Dhanush, Prosas, Yagna are the units of length. Drona, Khari, Kumbh are the units of liquids. Mushti, Kuncha, Pushkala, Adhaka, Drona are the units of both solids and liquids. Manusmriti is a work, literary work. It recommends checking of correctness of weighing units once in every 6 months. What we also do it today also. We also recommend it, but how much it is followed that we all know. Three types of lenses: kacha, that is glass; afropatal, that is mica; and sphatic, that is crystal. Sphatic crystals are also available in the market these days also. Dhanurved describes archery and artillery. Five varieties of magnets: Bharamakam, Chumbakam, Darshakam, Dravakam, and Romakam. These were kinds of magnets. In botany, the references are found in Soma and Path, and the plants are classified as flowering and non-flowering, fruit bearing and non-fruit bearing. There are two classifications. And the parts of the plants are mula, is the name given to root. Shoot is called tala. Stem is called kanda. Twig is called valsa. Trunk is called skanda. Branch is called sak. Leaf is called parna. Flower is called pushpa. Fruit is phala. Inner wood is called daru. And pith is majja. And 21 leaves have been described in the Vedic literature. The biosphere classification has also been given in Vedas. Trees have been treated as living beings, they are sentimental. There are four kinds of plants: herbs, trees, creepers, and shrubs. They propagate through seeds, branches, and roots. Plants that bear fruits without flowers are called herbs. Plants that bear fruits after flowering are called trees. Plants that develop into tendrils are called creepers. Plants which are bushy with many branches are called shrubs. That is also nearly the same in the modern classification with different names. The Indian mathematics, the test were Samhitas, Kalpasutras, and Vedangas, 10 as the basic numeral. And Yajurved mentions highest number of the order of 10 to the power 12. And the other denominations are Ek, one means 1, Das means 10, Shat means 10 to power 2 or 100, Sahasra means 10 to power 3, Ayuta 10 to power 4, Niyuta 10 to power 5, Prayuta 10 to power 6, Arbuda 10 to power 7, Nyar Buddha 10 to power 8, and some other 10 to power 9, that is nanotechnology. We were working in the levels of 10 to power 9 and below that. Madhya 10 to power 10, Anta 10 to power 11, and Parardha 10 to power 12. Both the 10 to power, since we were knowing integers at that time, so both the plus and the minus powers were known to us. So 10 to power minus 9 was the nanotechnology. And there are many examples which are there symbolizing use of nanotechnology. Shulba-Schuster's enumeration, arithmetical operations, fractions, properties of rectilinear figures, and so-called Pythagoras theorem. Vedang Jyotisha is the earliest astronomical text, and some of the calculations. The period of revolution of Saturn that was calculated by Aryabhat is 29.47 years, and the present day it is 29.46 years. Jupiter period is exactly the same. Period of Mars is exactly the same. Earth period is exactly the same. Venus is 224.7 days as calculated by Aryabhat, and today we say it is 225. So you see the crow's approximity, what were the calculations performed by Aryabhat and the present day values. And the Sanskrit and computers are also related, and that has been proved that Sanskrit is the most efficient language for computers. And the science of phonetics is described as Shiksha Shastra and respected as Vedanta. Shastric Sanskriti is the culmination of millennia of thought in ceramic extraction. It is a natural language, ambiguous and automatically inference greeting, and it is ideal for the purpose of natural language processing that has been remarked by a modern scientist Briggs. Sanskrit grammar of Panini, Panini is the author, is proved to be very consistent for machine translation process. That means it can be used as a part of machine language also. These are the some of the approaches that the modern system gives, and the Panini was the author of the Sanskrit work I was talking of, and they are quite resembling. And we end our this talk here. And in the coming talks, we will discussing each of the specific branches in details. We will start with the Samhitas and Vedankas, and gradually we will be moving towards Shataks also. So I thank you all for a patient listening.